I am from Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. It's a very small town. There are no IT companies at all. I'm not gonna lie, it was very stressful. I graduated in May 2023. I had to get job by end of the year, August, or
Oh,
else
wow.
I'm done for good. I applied and then I got rejected. There's a lot of depression when I started doing all these. That's when the game changed. I started getting calls. It took me around 5 months to land one job.
Welcome to the Data Career Podcast, the podcast that helps aspiring data professionals land their next data job. Here's your host, Avery Smith.
I'm here with Venkata, who wants to go by Sai. So we're going to call him Sai. I want to start by just talking a little bit about who you are and what you currently do. So if you can go ahead and introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I'm Sai Kumar, and then back in India, I've done my bachelor's in electrical, and then I wanted to get into data science because I had a course back in my final year, which is called SQL, because I didn't know what SQL was when I was in my bachelor's, and then that's how I got introduced to world of data, and then I wanted to explore more, and then so I moved to United States to pursue my master's in data science at UConn. And then during my master's, I worked as a data scientist at Lego for a few months as an intern. And then I graduated in May 2023. And from June 2023, I started working as a lead data analyst at Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina. So it's going to be a year in a month. So it has been like really nice working with Blue Cross. The team is really nice. And then the learning curve, I see it's exponential. So the things that I learned during my master's and then the things I do at my work, they're not same. It's like for everyone else.
That's so amazing. And you have such a cool story. I want to dive in a little bit deeper because you were studying electrical engineering in India. And did you say you took a sequel class at the last semester?
Yeah,
What was that like an elective? Because I feel like usually sequel's not really taught in engineering school.
exactly. It was elective. I had SQL elective and also basics of machine learning. So that's when I got to there's something called data science and data analytics. I didn't know what they were also. Because of the electives, I got to know these courses, and then I took them, and then I really liked them because I was always good at math. I was able to relate, and then I was able to query nicely, and then understand. I understood the algorithms, machine learning algorithms. So I thought I'll give it a shot. So and then I took it.
Super interesting because you ended up getting a master's at UConn in data science. I have a master's in analytics from Georgia Tech. And actually, it's super interesting because, SQL's the most used data tool out there. And in my whole master's degree, I didn't take one SQL class. And they only, I think, offered one SQL class that you could possibly take. It was like super old and a little bit outdated. So, did you cover SQL in your master's degree?
Yes, I did have SQL in my master's degree, and I was also teaching assistant for the next semester. Like I took SQL in my second semester. For my third semesters, I was also the teaching assistant for SQL.
Yeah, that's right. I did see that on your LinkedIn. And Sai's being a little bit shy here because over the last year, so he's basically worked at this company, Blue Cross Blue Shield, who does is it insurance? Is that what they do, or they do
Yeah,
healthcare?
health insurance.
Okay, they do health insurance. He's been there as a lead data analyst for like he said, like a little bit more than a year now. But he started posting about his journey on LinkedIn, and he's actually had the chance to become one of there's a platform called TopMate, which basically does like career coaching and stuff like that. He's become one of the top 1% coaches on TopMate. He's done over like 500 calls with people trying to break into data analytics and who have been trying to following his story. And he's been on Times Square billboard. He's grown his LinkedIn to over 25,000 followers. So Sai's done some pretty cool things. I want to go back to a little bit about your growing up in India. What city were you from in India?
I am from Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. It's like southern part of India.
Okay, and tell me about like that city. Is there? I'm guessing all the cities in India have a lot of people who live there. But is it a big city? Do a lot of people live there? What do people do there?
Mostly, it's not a big city. It's very small town, I would say. And then there were only like 400 to 500K people. And then most people, there are no IT companies at all. Most people are into business, like daily wages, or like my dad is into business. And then most of the people, like at least 90% of them, it runs on business. So there are no IT companies at all. But then the education is good. The schooling.
And did you go to school there? Or did you go to school in a different city?
Oh, I went to the school in the same city until 12th grade. And then I moved to another state called Tamil Nadu for my bachelor's. And then moved
Okay,
on
for
for
your
my
back.
master's.
Okay, and you study electrical engineering you got exposed to data at the end. You're like, wow, this is super cool. I want to get more into this. You have this LinkedIn post that went pretty viral where you talk about the sacrifices that you had to make to come to the US. What made you want to come to the US in the first point?
From my first year of bachelor's, I always wanted to come to United States. But then in the first 3 years, I wanted to pursue masters in electrical because my major was that. And then during my final year, I applied to two colleges in electrical and then I got admit. But then when I took the course, I wanted to change, so I applied for data science in few universities. But what sparked me in getting into United States was really the opportunities and then the growth. And then I saw the San Francisco Bay Area and then a lot of companies. And then I saw the growth in data science when I was planning to apply for universities. And then all the companies, and then that's where deep learning and everything was gaining a lot of craze, all the image and videos models. And then I took a few courses before getting into university so that my profile would stand out, or like since I'm transitioning, it's good for me to put something on my SOP so that they would give me an admission. So I did few projects, took few courses on Udemy, and then all this booming in the data science industry. That's what made me choose United States. I also wanted to try to United Kingdom, but then the visa rules were not that flexible when you compare with United States. And then that's when I thought United States it is.
Very cool. You apply to grad school, you get in to UConn, you're doing your master's degree. And that was a big sacrifice for your family. You had this post where you kind of talked about how your family, had to take out loans to go to expensive America school, UConn, and how was your parents were very supportive. And that's such a cool story that you were able to do that. And then you're able to land this lead job at Blue Shield Blue Cross. Walk me through that a little bit because it's not easy for people, from different parts of the world to land a job even after going through a master's degree because you're also on a time crunch right after you graduate. You have to make sure you land a job in a certain amount of days, otherwise your visa expires. Was that kind of stressful?
It was like, I'm not gonna lie, it was very stressful. Like I graduated in May 2023, and then I had to get job by August, end of the year, August, or
Oh
else
wow.
I'm done for good.
Yeah. So you had like 90 days.
90 days.
Wow. So let's talk about like that's a ton of stress to land a job that quickly. How were you able to do so?
Yes, first thing I'll start with my first semester. It was all new coming to United States, and then the cultural differences, spending in dollars where from rupees, everything was too much to take. Took some time to settle down, and then the courses were started, and then we were learning. And then there's this opportunity called, I got an email from Lego saying that Lego people are coming to UConn to select few people for their internship. And then I wanted to apply. I applied and then I got rejected. So I thought I'll give it a shot next semester. And then that's when we got another email from UConn saying there's one competition for data science. Would you like to participate? So I took a chance and then I registered with my friends and classmates. And then we won that competition. That's where it all started, the Travelers Data Science competition. And then that's when I got a lot of interest in competitions. So I participated in a lot of competitions during my master. I had participated around in 4 to 5 and won in two of them. And then I also participated in a hackathon. I also won in that hackathon. So during my second semester in my summer, I did take a few courses. I didn't want to graduate late. I wanted to graduate early and start working early. So I took a few courses in summer and then also participated in competitions. So I built my profile instead doing projects. I thought competitions might be a better way to land a job quicker or learn new skills because it's so competitive. You get a lot people from participate from thousands of universities. There'll be 50,000 people participating in thousands of teams. So you have to compete with a lot of amazing people to stand out.
That's so cool. I think that's so fascinating because from what I understand, you got invited to apply to this internship thing. You applied, you got rejected, but then you had a chance. Was Lego the company that you applied to? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Lego also had like a competition as well.
Lego didn't have any competition. So what happens with Lego and Yukon is Lego comes to Yukon every semester and then they choose 5 students, 3 from masters, 2 from MBA to solve their pain point.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool. Why'd they choose you out of, what I presume hundreds of students?
Yeah. first sem I got rejected, and then I did participate in a lot of competitions and then built
Ah,
my profile. And then I built a good rapport with my professors because they are the one who's gonna select students and then send them to like work for Lego. And then in the first 2 semesters, I did these competitions, and then I told these to my professors. And then during the classes I was active, I knew I wanted to get that Lego thing, and then I wanted to make a good connection with my professors because they have a lot of industry experience. And then if I have any personal connection with my professors, it can be very helpful during my job search. So, and then there's always learning. So I showcased all my expertise or like things that I've learned. In the fall semester, Lego came to UConn again to select 5 students, and then two of my professors recommended my, so and then I got selected for Lego like that.
okay. That is so neat. So, you applied for this internship, you got rejected, but you didn't let that hold you back. Went out there and you participated in these hackathons and these competitions, which, like you said, I think are actually a great use, especially when you're in school and they're a little bit more formal, or I guess maybe they're more formal competitions, especially like when they're supported by an industry or a conference or a company. Those competitions are actually pretty impactful because a lot of the times you get to learn really quickly. Like it's usually like a weekend, maybe 24 hours type of a thing where you're working on this project. Maybe some of them are a month long, but regardless, it's like a very shortened window with a real world problem that you're trying to solve. So that's where the best learning always happens. I'm like the biggest proponent of projects out there. And like a hackathon or a competition is like the best project you could possibly do. So you're learning really quickly, but then you're also doing it with like teammates and other people. So you're networking. And then also, like, if you end up doing well, like you did, like you said, you won a few of these, you get really noticed and it's really good for your repertoire and your branding. So it's kind of like almost a hidden gem to breaking into the data fields, these competitions. I know in sports analytics, which many people are like really excited about and want to get into, really like the best way to participate or to do well, to break into sports analytics is to participate in one of these competitions and to place well. Usually that's how a lot of people are able to break in. That's really cool. I don't hear too many people talking about these and doing these, but that was a big, jump start to your whole data career.
Yeah, that's what like few of the competitions were like 1 month long, some of them were 2 months long. So we used to just wake up till 3 or 4 in the morning and then build models and then like see which one's performing well, like fine tuning them, doing research and everything. But then the hackathons were like really fast. We started 9 a.m. in the morning and then they're done at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So like 4 to 5 hours long. That's all. They give us a business problem. They need a solution. So they let us present and then they choose the best team to who are effective and accurate solution. I mean, which might work in the industry and which is not impossible.
That's so neat. So tell me, when did you start using LinkedIn in your job search? When did that become a big part?
I was about to graduate in May 2023. So I started using LinkedIn from September 2022. But to be honest, like I had LinkedIn account from my bachelor's first year, but then it's like that in my mobile, but then I never used it. So
Yeah.
I started really using it when I came to United States. I wanted to connect with my alumni to get a job to I want to be honest. So started using it in September 2022. So like went to my UConn's LinkedIn page, went to alumni section, started reaching out to alumni and then get started connecting with them. Same questions again, like what helped them, what didn't help them, like how was their journey, like as an immigrant in United States, and then what did they do to stand out, and then how did they get referrals, or like how did they prepare for interview, how did they prepare for resume. So I had multiple calls with my alumni and then they have been really helpful. And also like started following few creators on LinkedIn because they post a lot of good advice, and then you were obviously one of them. And then there were like a few more people that I used to follow, and then that's how I started using LinkedIn. Like started commenting. I wasn't posting at that time, but then I started commenting on people's posts, and then that increased my visibility. And then that's when I started using LinkedIn, and I started looking for job from December 2023. I would. It took me around 5 months to land one job.
That's neat. So you started using LinkedIn by going to your school's alumni page and looking at people who had interesting careers, who maybe did the same degree as you or worked in a field like in a role that you were interested in, and you'd reach out to them and you'd essentially be like, "Hey, like, I'm interested. I'm in this journey. You went through like a similar journey. Like, what advice do you have for me? What worked well for you?" And you just would ask for advice. And that was one way you're building your network. I think that's so powerful because alumni ties can be so powerful. And there's really like, we love to help our fellow classmates,
Right.
our fellow alumni. So that's a great start. And then you just started commenting on LinkedIn. Like you said, that's not nearly as difficult or scary as posting, but that was expanding your network. And then eventually you start getting into the posting and, it leads to 30,000 followers on LinkedIn. But you start off with alumni messages and commenting. I think that just shows that you can start small and have a really big impact.
Exactly. Alumni is your best shot when you're graduating from bachelor's, master's, or PhD because you have the common tag, and then people like tend to help their juniors because they have been there a few years back. They know the struggle, like they know they can help, and then they have this feeling of like he or she is from same university. So far better than connecting with a stranger and asking for a referral. Like there's 10x more reply rate or retention rate if you say when you're connecting with your alumni.
You're not reaching out to a random person. You're reaching out to a brother and sister of your college. So it took you about 5 months to land that job. You were starting, late December. You landed kind of in May/June, right after you graduate. So before the time crunch of your visa expires. You also had a LinkedIn post where you said you applied to like 1,300 jobs. How did you, first off, how did you not let the negativity get to you with so many applications? One. And then two, how did you ultimately find Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Coming to one negativity, yeah, there's a lot of depression. So because like we tend to apply a lot of jobs every day. When we apply for any job, we have this question called, do you need sponsorship? The moment we say yes, the ATS auto rejects most of the times because like companies have to spend extra bucks on us for them to sponsor us. So most of the times, like 80% of the applications get rejected with that question. So that's where most of the international students, it gets difficult for us to get a job. But then the rest 20 to 30%, they take a chance. And then if it's a good firm or like if they find our profile interesting, and then if it matches with the job description, they give us a call and then they check we are really good fit or not. And then first 2 months, I was nowhere to be honest because I didn't have a good resume. Even though I had good LinkedIn profile, I wouldn't say awesome profile, but then a good LinkedIn profile. I had my career coaches who helped me in refining my resume and LinkedIn. And then I also had a career coach who helped me in understanding what went wrong in job search strategy. So first 2 months I was nowhere, but when I started doing all these, reaching out to career coaches and then university, that's when the game changed. So I started getting calls. Like that's when I got to know that I had to tailor my resume to job description because you're competing with thousands of people out there. You need to stand out. So I started tailoring my resume. Took some time. That's when I understood quality is more than like quantity. It's not about quantity, but it's the quality. So I started sending out quality applications rather than just another application. So for the next 2 months, say March and April, I had few calls from recruiters. I had around 30 to 40 calls. But then during the interviews, when they see that I'm a fresher and then they don't want to take chance on me, so I lost like 50% of them. So I was left with 10 to 15. And then for few of them, I was into final rounds and then I couldn't convert. But at last, I converted Blue Cross. Like I had like 3 rounds. I converted Blue Cross as a lead data analyst. But that interview was fun, like getting a lead position. Maybe I thought all the things that I have done, like competitions, hackathons, the Lego internship, all these things helped me in getting that position.
For sure. When you did all those competitions, you have projects that you can talk about and be like, yes, to use your term, I am a fresher, I am a noob, I'm a beginner to data analytics. I haven't worked in the field. I'm just fresh out of college type of a thing. Or for people listening, I'm fresh out of a boot camp or I'm currently pivoting in the career. But look, I have evidence. Here's tangible evidence that I can do SQL, I can do Excel. Because when you don't have that evidence, you don't have those projects that you've done, it's like, how are you supposed to convince anyone that you have those skills? So that I can imagine that was really helpful. I want to go back to the whole needing a visa thing, which is really hard because you're right. One of the first questions any screener asks is, do you require sponsorship? So like, and that would just weed you out for a lot of different companies. Did you like know if there was like a list of like companies that are open to sponsorship? Because I'm like, for instance, if my company were hiring right now, I would say that we wouldn't hire someone that requires sponsorship because I don't know what the heck that even like how to even do that whole process. I'm a small business, obviously, and most businesses are bigger than mine, and they probably do know how to do it. But still, a lot of them aren't necessarily looking to do that. So, did you try to focus more on ones that have a track record of sponsoring students?
Yeah. since that's the time when ChatGPT was released, there were a lot of Chrome extensions that could tell us if this company sponsors, like what it shows the history. Like in the past year, they have sponsored these many students or like these many employees for H1. So I've installed this Chrome extension called F1 Hire. So which says that, which shows the company's history if they've sponsored back in. So I used that Chrome extension, but even though I did apply for the jobs either way, because it just takes me 10 minutes extra. But then if I get a call, if they like my profile, they can always sponsor me. So I have gotten few calls like that even after putting yes. And then they like my profile. When they during the interviews, they told they can't sponsor. But then when they saw my profile, they proceeded me to like the next rounds. So I never took a chance. So I was always applying, but then I made sure that I put in more efforts when they're sponsoring.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. You've been doing a lot of, you've been talking to a lot of people. You've been doing a lot of one-on-one calls with people who want to break into the field. What's the number one question that people ask you?
The one question would be like how to break into data analytics. Like there's a lot of boot camps out there, a lot of content out there. It's really difficult for them to consume, where to start, and then what needs to be done in the next steps, and then how to get a job. Like these will be the main things people are concerned. That's the main question. And then how to build a resume, and then how to build a portfolio. So these are the main concerns that I raise, that I listen. Like I have had more than 800 to 900 calls, like Gmeet or Zoom. Most common question I get, like how to learn, like where to practice, how to build my portfolio, how to network, how to get referrals.
That's a bit issue because there is so much content about data analytics. There's a lot of YouTube, there's a lot of people on LinkedIn, there's a lot of podcasts. I'm one of those people. And yeah, it's hard to know what the right fit is for you. One of the things I think I see people struggle with the most, and maybe you see this as well, is like, it's almost like if you're trying to get from San Diego to Sacramento, and it's like, okay, what way should you go? It's like, okay, well, you could go a lot of different ways. You could, take this highway, you could take the back roads, you could take a boat, you could fly. Like there's so many different avenues. And that's the same with like data analytics. How do I break into data analytics? Well, there's a lot of things that you could do in a lot of different paths, depending on like where you're at and where you kind of want to end up. And a lot of the times I think people are almost overwhelmed by the amount of possibilities of paths that they can take, or they like start on one path and then quit and then start another path and then quit. And it's like, there's almost like information overload. And I've seen personally when people just like see a plan and commit to it, it can be really impactful.
Yeah, that's true. Even though there are a lot of there's a lot of noise outside, but then there's always good content. If they do some research, like say instead starting a $10,000 course or $20,000 course directly, if they put in some time and efforts in researching a boot camp or in any course by seeing the reviews, you get a name on the review. So connect with that person and then see it really helped or not. If they put in some effort, like say 10 to 15 days on researching it, I think it would make their life a lot easier than it should be.
I agree. I think that's a big one as well. Doing some research and finding some reviews, I think would be helpful. Okay, well, Venkata/Sai, what else did we miss? What other advice do you have for people breaking into the field?
So first thing is focus on your skills, technical skills before if you want to break into data. Like say if you are into breaking as a fresher like me, start with Excel and then move on to SQL and then a database tool and then a visualization tool like Tableau or Power BI. And then once you're learning any skill, make sure to build a project. So once you build a project using every tool, once you're done with learning all the tools, make a project end to end. Like store the data in Word and then connect it to Power BI and then deploy it some and Python or like use Python to automate the flow. So try to integrate different tools like how you would do in industry, because a lot of people use single tool to create a project. But what sets you apart from the crowd is you use multiple tools to make your work a lot easier, because that's how you do it in industry. You don't just use Excel to store, analyze, and then publish. You use Power BI to publish, SQL to store the data because it's very huge. You have millions of records to deal with every day. So that's one skill, one thing that I would recommend for people who are working on project. And then the next one is take the opportunity. Don't wait for paid opportunities, be it freelancing. Like if a friend of you owns a small startup, a small business, if he needs help with some data analysis, like if he's facing some difficulties, get on there, grab the opportunity, be it freelancing, a personal project, a competition, or you can do a certification. Take the opportunity to showcase your expertise, because don't wait for the paid internship to come. Money will come when you have proper experience. Maybe a few months you can try out freelance, and then showcase your work, like build a portfolio. That's the next thing you have to do. Okay, you have learned these skills, you have done these certifications, you have done these projects, but then only you know it. So you need to let the world know that you have done this. So share your story on LinkedIn, like post your projects, post your certifications, share your knowledge, build a portfolio, put it on your LinkedIn, where put it on your resume. The last but not the least would be networking. So in this fast-paced world, it's not just about what you know, but then who you know matters a lot. So go network, find that person who can refer you, and then go an extra mile so that if we can connect the hiring manager, that's always better than getting just a normal referral. So engage with people on LinkedIn, try to connect with industry leaders, see, learn from their journey, what helped them, what didn't help them. Maybe you don't have to do the same mistake that they have done. They'll be more than happy to talk about their mistakes more than their success story. So because that's what made them the person who they are today. So networking is key. So make sure to network a lot once you're done learning, or like parallel, simultaneously. While learning, you can always reach out to a person and ask how did they learn. Maybe once you're done learning, they'll refer you because they know where you started and then they know where you are right now.
You really nailed that. Skills Portfolio Network, the SPN method, as taught by Venkata/Sai here. I couldn't have said it better myself. I love the skills. I love the portfolio. I like what you said about the end-to-end projects. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I love the networking. Well, Sai, thank you so much for coming on the Data Career Podcast. Make sure you guys follow Sai on LinkedIn. He's posting great LinkedIn content all the time and definitely is a good resource to the data community. Sai, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.